ideas, one world.
Hello everybody, my name is Dorothée Cambou, I live in Finland and I study whether government policies and business activities are implemented in compliance with the human rights of indigenous peoples. More specifically, I examine how development projects affect human rights at the local level. Since 7 years now, I'm working in the Nordic countries, examining how the rights of indigenous people, called Sámi, are guaranteed on the ground. What I do is to analyze how energy projects, including renewable energy projects, impact their human rights in order to promote a just transition to a sustainable future. Since some years now, my ground is the Arctic, where I do research concerning the human rights of the Sámi people. The Sámi people are indigenous people living in the northern parts of Finland, Sweden and Norway, and in the Kola Peninsula of Russia. For centuries, the Sámi have maintained their livelihoods, which consist of fishing, gathering, handicraft, hunting and reindeer herding. Today, reindeer herding remains an important cultural practice for the Sámi. But this activity is continuously threatened by development projects such as mining and forestry, which can affect their land and natural resources, and so the human rights of the Sámi are persistently being challenged. Based on that, my work is to study the nature of potential violation, to examine to which extent the legal framework protects their human rights, and to eventually suggest possible solutions to better guarantee their rights. In that sense, I consider myself as an activist scientist. In the process, I often meet and consult with the Sámi community and representatives in order to better understand their perspective and examine how law works in practice. These meetings happen either during the time of official events, academic conference, or on the ground when I have the opportunity to conduct research in Sápmi, where the traditional land of the Sámi is located. This way, my research in some extent, rely upon indigenous perspective and knowledge as a basis to promote human rights. One particular challenge I meet with my research is the fact that it is too often assumed that the legislation and governance structure in the Nordic countries protects efficiently human rights. In reality, legislation of Nordic countries are not always compliant with human rights, and violations do also happen in these countries. In this regard, international human rights bodies such as the UN Human Rights Committee or the UN Committee on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination has several times criticized the Nordic states. They were criticized because they allowed major industrial activities affecting Sámi to proceed without Sámi communities offering their free, prior and informed consent. These concerns were, for instance, raised in relation to the impact of the Ronbach mine in 2013 in Sweden, and more recently in the case of the construction of the wind energy project Fosen in Norway. This project caused important threat to the livelihood of the Sámi and did not receive the consent of the communities, but were nevertheless allowed by the governments. This way, it remains essential, even in the Nordics, to organize meetings with communities, with their representatives, their lawyers, as well as to collaborate with other scientists. The objective here is simple: to better understand the nature of potential conflicts, to overcome historical patterns of colonization, discrimination and oppression in order to promote sustainable development policies and projects that are fair for all people and do respect the human rights of the Sámi people. Today, it is the impact of renewable energy projects that has been under increasing scrutiny, more specifically wind energy projects. In my current project, meeting with reindeer herders and other experts have been very helpful to understand how renewable energy represents a threat to the human rights of the Sámi people in practice.